And how was it going from Krishnamurti to discovering Jesus as a teacher?
Oh, I love that question because there's so much in that question about why I love A Course in Miracles. So the Eastern teachings, they struck me as very high teachings. And, in A Course in Miracles, it says that there are two levels, level 1 and 2. The first level, one can say, is about that there is illusions and truth. And I found the Eastern teachings to be very much focused on the illusions and truth. Like it's like a knife that says that's an illusion, go to truth, go back, come to truth. You're not your thoughts, meditate like that. And of course it's not all, but this is like the general impression I got many times over. But and it's a valid thing. And of course Miracles also appeals to that level. But I always saw myself as somebody who's like the black sheep. you know uh, I was a jealous person. I had a lot of negative emotions, and it's like I wondered, do I need to go and seek psychotherapy and then do spirituality? Like, where can I go with all my interpersonal conflicts?
Right.
And that's where we speak of level 2, of living in the world and having, let's say, the truth have its reflections in our daily life, everyday life. And A Course in Miracles tackles that. It says, yeah, love and truth is one and all of that, but now you're going to work and you're afraid of your boss or your coworkers. What then? Like, how can we use the specifics in your life and slowly transmute them or change them, transform them? And that's what the Course in Miracles did. And I'm so happy because one benefit of A Course in Miracles is it meets you where you are. No matter how dark you think you are, no matter how unlovable you think you are, A Course in Miracles won't just say, yeah, that's an illusion. There is no self, accept it. It will say, okay, of course you think like that. It will even explain why you think like that, and slowly work with it. And I think it's just the most gentlest and kindest embrace I could ever get from anyone.
And it's a deep psychological practice, as long as spiritual. You would literally be, if you do the workbook, you would literally be transformed. Um, for me, almost from the beginning, it wasn't a dramatic night and day transformation, but by lesson 50, I was interacting with the world differently.
Wow.
And by me interacting with the world differently, people were treating me differently. And even though it took me a long time to get through the first 50 lessons, I would hit a stumbling block, and I'd put the book away, and then months later I'd pull it back out. But I was planting these seeds, and the seeds were taking effect in my life. Great changes were taking place. And then, eventually I felt like I didn't even have a choice but to dive right into the course. And once I did that full commitment, it's been no looking back.
And I think, as you said, that you kind of put, it took some time, the 50 lessons, you said, right? That is because you really heard and knew what it was calling for. And that is how, like, at first glance, if somebody heard you say that, they might say, yeah, he's not spiritual enough. But in A Course, that's why he took time or something. But in A Course in Miracles, it's the opposite. He is spiritual because he knew, he got in touch with the fear. And then, A Course in Miracles wouldn't say, keep on. It would say, yeah, wait, be gentle. Love affords to wait and be patient. Why stress? And that's the whole thing. A Course in Miracles, that we benefit from A Course in Miracles, the more we can say, of course I don't like this. Of course I'm afraid. Of course I'm still holding on to my judgments. Of course I did that. It explains so much why we do what we do, that it's almost like we can't even take it personally when we quote unquote fail, because it explains it.
And I love that humbleness, which is one of the characteristics of God's teachers. That the fact that, I can say, and Ken Wapnick talked about that. It's okay to choose the ego. Just know that you're choosing the ego.
Right.
And that, to me, that is the ultimate expression of humbleness. And humbleness and gentleness are really hand in hand with each other. I have to be able to say, to not have to have a spiritual posture, to be able to say, yes, I forgot to forgive, or that I just don't want to forgive right now, or I want to hold on to this judgment. The Course never says you're wrong. Not in that way. It just says, as Jesus said in the Course, I'll wait. If you want to be like me, I will wait. And ultimately, I think that's what we all want. We want that life where we are relating to others and ourselves each moment as ultimate love.
Right. And I just think it's so kind, and because there is no, let's say, demand. I don't feel any demand, and and the thing is, the more one can identify with the darkness, that one has it, the more one is ready to actually undo it. But the more we feel guilty about our darkness and we say, no, I'm not like that, then we stop the learning, and because we're not only one in love, we're also one in our ego, in our fears.
I think that was one of the most important things that I've heard with any guest, that so often we think, well, I'm stepping on this spiritual path, and we start to bypass our darkness, or we shove it aside. We shove it so far down within that we think it's never going to surface again. But of course, it surfaces in so many other ways, because darkness doesn't go anywhere until we shine light on it.
Exactly. And it's such a relief to be, as you and me, like if I speak for myself, to be with somebody who, like, there's no pretense, I don't have to wear a mask. I'm saying I have an ego. I feel guilty. I attack people, but I also have a non-serious side called the Holy Spirit that I learned from, and that to me is oneness while being in the dream. To realize I don't have to hold back and have secrets. And that's good.
Right. The Course is definitely not. It never advocates bypassing.